From setting world records on the bench press to digging out of his own grave, Batman often seems as strong as the writers want him to be, with very little of his stunts seeming feasible, let alone beatable. In this video, we're going to answer if it's possible to reach these Batman levels of performance as a human bound by the laws of reality. To do this, we need to ask, how impressive is Batman? We're going to cover each of Batman's most impressive feats and how you can improve to be more like him. Keep an eye on this guide to see if we're covering Batman's feats or if we're recommending advice for you to become Batman. Let's see if you can achieve any of Batman's athletic feats. Mastering over 100 martial arts styles, benching 1,045 pounds, and nearly running a full marathon each week are just a handful of stunts we get to see Batman perform. No, really, Batman is shown to be benching 1,045 pounds without a spotter here. When I first found this panel, I thought he was only benching a mere 545 pounds as it shows here, but then my gym bro brain somehow remembered that that's 500 pounds on each side plus the bar. That's ridiculous. For reference, American powerlifting legend Jonathan Keiko, who's roughly Batman's weight of 205 pounds, has recently lifted 541 pounds for a new world record. The overall world record bench of 782 pounds was performed by Julius Maddox, who weighs over twice as much as Batman. While no human may ever be able to near Batman's numbers on the bench, adding hundreds of pounds to your bench is actually completely doable without steroids. Here's how. Batman's bench focus approach is actually in line with many elite level lifters. The bench press is often recommended to beginner lifters as you can recruit multiple muscle groups at the same time, often referred to as a compound movement. Elite level lifters, who I presume you aspire to be like, also tend to favor the bench press for its time efficiency and capability for overload. If you want to be putting up Batman-like numbers on a bench, you have to be progressively adding on weight or repetitions each week to slowly increase your bench max over time. As with everything Batman does, this does take time and shouldn't be rushed. If you're just starting in the gym, try to find a friend who also lifts to guide you through the basics. You will start from humble beginnings, as the average untrained 200-pound male can bench just 135 pounds, where advanced and elite level lifters at the same weight are putting up 290 to 360 pounds. Since Batman's bench is surely impossible for us mere humans, being over 200 pounds heavier than the world record bench, I'm going to have to deem this one impossible. How in the world are you supposed to learn 200 martial arts like Batman? Well, the simple answer is you don't have to. Many students simply don't see a need to learn more than 2 or 3 arts, as many serve similar purposes. Batman has been said to have mastered anywhere from 127 to 180 martial arts styles. This is more believable than it seems at face value, really. Bruce Lee mastered upwards of 8 martial arts before his passing, and the gap between mastering 8 martial arts and 100 is actually far narrower than you'd imagine, as once you've mastered the fundamentals of 2 or 3 arts, mastering others becomes infinitely easier. If somebody were to make it their life's mission, I wouldn't be surprised if they had genuinely mastered over 100 arts across half a century. Like I said, there's simply no need to go this far. Mastering 2 arts often takes over a decade anyways, and it's better to focus your efforts in other areas. It's like the famous adage, I fear not the man who practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who practiced one kick 10,000 times. Again, from legend Bruce Lee. If you want to achieve maybe 90% the combat capabilities of Batman, visiting a local dojo and devoting a couple hours each week will not only improve your health, but also make you more like Batman. This one's not realistically possible without an extreme devotion, so I'll have to deem it not realistically possible, but keep in mind, it's not really necessary in the first place anyways, and if you want that combat experience, you can achieve most of it by just mastering 2 or 3 arts. Alright, this next one's hard to defend. Batman journals about his weekly 20-mile runs, where he dashes on an astounding 4-minute 50-second per mile pace. Remarkably, this pace has been shattered by multiple runners, with Kevin Kiptum, the record holder, running a full marathon, which is 6.2 miles longer, at a faster 4:36 pace. So yes, it is possible if you are a 143-pound Batman. Unfortunately, as we all know, running gets a tad bit harder when you put on weight, whether muscle or fat. And with Batman weighing in at 205 pounds, I can only assume that he sets yet another world record. I can't find any divisions categorized by weight, but speaking from personal experience, your pacing falls off a cliff the second you bulk up. But there is hope. There's been a new movement of hybrid athletes who train for both muscular gains and cardio-based goals. While originally pioneered by Batman, I guess he prepared for this, you can learn more about this regimen on YouTube from channels like Nick Bear. I know you're sensing a theme here, but again, try to train with a partner. While Batman might have preferred solitude, it's far easier to learn of your mistakes with a partner. This goes for both new and experienced athletes. As a new athlete, you can literally learn twice as fast if you have a second pair of eyes trying to learn how to train in addition to you, and as an experienced athlete, it's easy to accidentally incorporate mistakes into your routine or even start sandbagging your training. Personally, this was one of the hardest lessons for me to learn in my training, that I would subconsciously sandbag my training. It's far more common than you think because your brain is trying to protect you from yourself. A second set of eyes or being religious about progressive overload can get you out of this slump. Wait, what were we talking about? Oh, marathons, right. Do I think a 205-pound man can run a 2-hour, 6-minute marathon? No, I don't. Perhaps in the far future, enhancements and PEDs will allow a select few to reach this, but for now, I'm going to have to mark it no way. Now, a 3-hour marathon, this might be a goal worth chasing, but trust me, you're going to have to chase it. The next feat we see Batman accomplishing is a 2,500-pound leg press. Yikes. Maybe it's possible. You see, powerlifters only focus on these 3 lifts: squat, bench, and deadlifts, and a leg press is not one of those. While it's not regulated, there are numerous clips of bodybuilders rapping out over a ton, and this legendary one from the King, 8-time Mr. Olympia, Ronnie Coleman. Now, Rodney is weighing in at a smooth 300 to 400 pounds in this clip, weighing 50% more than Batman. I think this gets the main reason why you can't be Batman: exorbitant amounts of steroids. It's no secret that Batman is sauced out of his mind in the comics. Similarly, while the Olympia is technically a tested competition, Coleman has admitted to steroid use in recent years as the public has been more and more clued into the popularity of steroids. Seriously, they're everywhere. So, Ronnie Coleman, a human with some of the best genetics of all time, on the most steroids possible, weighing 100 pounds more than Batman, comes up 300 pounds short on Batman's leg press? I'm gonna have to chalk this one up to Batman lying to psych himself up to move the coil. There are very real downsides to steroids, and even though the writers don't give Batman side effects, there are side effects in real life. Just be careful and remember, while Batman's feats of strength might not be achievable naturally or at all, his physique definitely is. So overall, can you achieve Batman's feats of strength? No, but it's important to keep in mind that it is possible to achieve mighty feats the average person couldn't differentiate from Batman's. Alright, so now you know how to be stronger like Batman using the tactics I outlined, but can you be as smart as him? No. Well, technically there are a handful of people who could be as smart as him, hypothetically. Let's see how smart Batman is and what he uses his intelligence to do, and then we're going to see if you can achieve these same skills. While many sources boast Batman's IQ at a blistering 192, they're actually wrong. It's higher than that. The 192 figure is actually Blue Beetle's IQ, and since Jeff Johns proves that Batman has the second highest IQ, only behind Lex Luthor's 250, Batman must have an IQ higher than 192. The highest IQ character other than Lex that we know of is Ryan Choi, with an IQ of 210. So Batman's IQ must be between 210 and 250. Shout out this user for figuring this out. But what's the use of figuring out Batman's IQ if you don't know yours? Well, simply put, if you have an IQ higher than 210, you were probably recruited at a young age and have been put through IQ test after IQ test, and you know your IQ for sure. So that's it? I'm just supposed to accept that I'm dumber than Batman? Well, don't worry, it gets worse. Batman boasts a photographic memory, insane speed reading capabilities, total recall, proficiency in over 11 languages, and a capability to score perfectly on the FBI tests. Well, except for the shooting portion, of course. Keep in mind, some of these measures of intelligence are actually learned skills that you can attain. The languages, speed reading, memory techniques, all things you can learn. It's often easy to be intimidated by the challenges, but taking them one at a time at a consistent rate can bring each of them into the realm of possibility. Want to memorize anything? It's actually a skill you can learn. It's actually a skill I learned, and you'd be surprised how often this comes in handy. Never forget your grocery list, never forget an authentication code, and never forget how much rice you weighed out. What, you have to get to 205 pounds, right? Speed reading is just another skill and has very little to do with intellect. There are numerous guides online on how to learn this. And the final skill you can learn to be more like Batman? Another language, or 11. While services and apps like Duolingo can help get you in the habit, it's important to use other databases, worksheets, and speech exercises. It is possible to achieve Batman's number of 11 languages and even more. Many people claim to speak over 50, and while I question the legitimacy of these claims, I figured you have to actually know at least 20% of the languages you claim to know, right? Try just starting with one. I've been learning Spanish for over half a decade now, and while I may never claim to be fluent, I don't think I would have gotten this far if I had started by trying to juggle a dozen languages. Some of Bruce's other achievable feats of intelligence include obtaining degrees in criminal science, forensic science, computer science, chemistry, and engineering, all by the time he is 21. While you may actually need to be a billionaire to afford all these, the concept stands. You can learn whatever you put your mind to. Now, the astute among you may have noticed that Batman utilizes meditation to control his mind. This is no surprise. On his travels, Batman has learned from the best monks and meditators on a planet, even barricading himself in a cave for 49 days with absolutely nothing, surviving solely off of his own inner peace. While incorporating a daily meditation session will not allow you to survive 49 days with nothing, it does have a multitude of benefits that have a larger effect on your life than you'd expect. So, can you be genetically as intelligent as Batman? Probably not. But you can accomplish most of the feats he uses his heightened intelligence to achieve. As you'd expect, the world's greatest detective can think faster on his feet than the average person, but you can still claim most of the benefits through hard work and dedication. I'm deeming this one possible, as you can be mostly as smart as Batman. And finally, one of the seemingly most important things about being Batman, being rich. While most of us didn't inherit billions, it doesn't necessarily take that to become Batman. Frankly, between the suit, Batmobile, a hideout that's not the Batcave, and tools, I'd assume a price to play vigilante is somewhere between $10 and $20 million. Realistically, this is achievable for most people in first world countries, albeit probably with a bit of luck. While I'm no finance guru, I know the lessons taught by Batman can apply to the effort required to win in the game of business. And that's what Batman really is. He's not his wealth, but his relentless dedication to improvement and consistency. But you weren't really planning on literally becoming Batman now, were you? You watched this far because you know the idea of Batman is powerful enough to transcend the panels and motivate you to change your life for the better. Before you click off, I want to sincerely say thank you for watching the video. This is the first video from this channel, and a like can help show this video to others. And remember, don't click that recommended video, you clicked on this one for real change, right?